I'm taking the training and assessment course, and this is the presentation for 5 to 5.2. So our topic today is NDIS 101. And probably you will know about the NDIS. So NDIS means the National Disability Insurance Scheme. So an insurance model-based scheme providing funding to eligible individuals who require support to meet their individual needs of living an ordinary life. So NDIA, the National Disability Insurance Agency. It is the agency whose role is to implement the National Disability Insurance Scheme, or NDIS. Within the next 5 years, the NDIS is expected to be provided to an estimated 5,000 Australians who have permanent and significant disability. So how does the NDIS work? For the person to have the NDIS plan, of course, they need to make the application to NDIA. An individual applies for access to NDIA, then they will be having the planning meeting. They will be discussing what are the requirements or the needs of the people with disability. They will be creating the individual goals, and the NDIA determines what supports or funding are required to them. Not all the NDIS clients have the same funding. It depends on the disability. So everyone's plan will be different regardless of this disability. Not everyone will have access to the same supports or have the same budget to receive the same type of supports. So the NDIS plan is receive the participant request supports or having the multiple provider. So we'll be discussing later about the providers. So the plan budget is for the length of plan can only be changed by a request to the NDIA. So sometimes it is 12 months, it is a 24 months, or a 36 months. It depends on the NDIS planner decision. So at the end of the plan, or if there is a change of circumstances, a review is held and a new plan with a new budget is developed. Okay, so management of the NDIS funding. So how the NDIS funding will be used. One, there is an agency managed or NDIA managed, that is with the providers who need to be a registered provider. Plan managed, you just need to have the plan management. And self-managed, it is by the people who will be just managing their NDIS plan. Okay, NDIS budgets and their support categories. So we have 3 different budget of areas. What we call is core, we have capital, and we have capacity building. So what are the difference of that one? So as a support worker, and probably some of our audience, our learners today, they are support workers. So on which budget areas you will be belong on that category. So it will be on the core budget. So on the core supports for there is assistance with daily life. That's how we're gonna be helping the clients to support independent living or supporting in their house, assistance with cleaning the house or cooking or anything that is a domestic task. Okay, consumables is part of the core supports. Consumables, that is the things that you can buy for the client. So if the client will be having the physical disability, then we can have some equipment for them. And also if they need something like what we call the continence, and something that they will be needing. So it depends on their disability, so it's including on the core supports. Another part of the core support is assistance with social and community participation. That is where we are assisting the client for their appointments, for their shopping, or just attending the activities in the community. So that's part of the supports we're giving to the NDIS clients. And then the number 4 is the transport. The transport with, they call it an activity-based transport. So when you are supporting the clients, so it's either you'll be using the company or the organization transportation, or as a support worker, you will be using your own car, and you will just reimburse the kilometer, the mileage on it, which that will be part of the funding as well. So on the capital supports, it is not flexible, must be the code on by professional and approved by the NDIA. For example, they think that the person will be needing a wheelchair. You cannot just have the wheelchair from their NDIS funding. You need to have the quotation from occupational therapy, or the client will have problem on speech. So they will be needing a recommendation or a letter from speech pathologists for them to have the iPad or any gadgets for the communication. And there is also assistive assistive technology and home modification. For example, the client will have problem, they cannot really stand for longer, so they need a shower chair or they need rails, and you need some home modification in their house. So the occupational therapy will be needing the report to recommend that you will be needing that all the home modification. Okay, so capacity building support. So that's where my role will be in it. So I am a support coordinator, so we'll be helping the client for to use the plan, and especially on the budgeting. There is also improved living arrangement, which support to help you find, maintain, and appropriate place to live. There is an increased social and community participation, which is a development and training. So increase your skills so you can participate in community, social, and recreational activities. So now there is an organization named Soul Shop. They are sending the clients there for them to learn skills, or sometimes the public transportation is included as well. Finding and keeping the job, it's part of the support from the NDIS as well. If they will be having problem on the behavior, then they will have the budget for improved relationship, improve health and well-being. If they are like diabetic, then they will be having a dietitian budget on it. Improve learning, if they will be transitioning from grade 12 and they want to be to do some learning traineeship, so they will be needing the budget for that. Improve life choices, that's the plan management who's just paying the bills. And improve daily living, that is the occupational therapy, speech therapy, physiotherapy, and psychologists if needed. So not everyone have their same funding, and it depends on the disability and requirements. So how does the NDIS plan work? So first, the participant will be requesting the service, request for service, and then we'll be having the intake, we'll have the service agreement, and then the support will start, and then the payment requested is after support is delivered. You cannot invoice until you didn't do the support with the client. So the participant may have multiple providers from the one funding bucket. So as NDIS plan, provider like on the top could be the core support provider, and then from this side you have the allied health provider, and then the other is a community access provider in one plan or in one client. So we can have a multiple or many providers. And the NDIS, they are really recommending to have multiple provider for them to have the check and balance, not only in one company. So someone can check if another provider is doing their job. Okay, so this is the example of funding in a plan. So a participant has been approved for core funding over 1 year plan of 156,700. So daily living activities, that's cooking, cleaning, domestic assistance, that's 100,000. So you need to make the budget for 12 months for 1 year. And then community access, $50,000. Consumables is 5,000, and transport there is 1,700. So multiple providers may be requested to provide the same support. Like for core support, you can have 2 providers that will be supporting the client. So the service agreement provides degree of certainty and transparency, and the supports are flexible with the client. So there is also reasonable and necessary supports. Like, it's not about what the client really likes. I want this, I want that, but it is not as recommended and not on their budget. So we cannot just think like probably the person need this. No, it should be on their plan, and we cannot just use the funding for something else. What supports won't they fund? Flight is not included. Something a day-to-day living costs like bills like electricity, the house rent. No, even on the still houses or support independent living, they need to pay their share in the house, and then the support is just the paid or funded by the NDIS. Choice and control, that's how we are always telling for the participant. They can choose and they can have the control, and it will be good for them. At least they can say something and can also make the decision if they can. So we can ensure it as a part of our duty of care for the participant. We highlight any risks involved in utilizing the funding in certain way. It's not about what really they want, but we need to also think if that will be good for them. It's like the client wants just to go for a ride and driving, and we don't have the budget for transport. Or the person would like to just always at home and just watching TV and anything. So it's like we need to have the balance of what they need and what is the budget for them. And they want to go to the pub every night. It's
They
not,
got no budget.
yeah, they don't have the budget, and it's risky for them.
And what's gonna be happen? What are
Yeah.
you gonna tell to the disability?
Yeah.
You just stuck at home, not going anywhere?
No, I mean, there is some other way to enjoy. So you can, as a support worker, we can tell them like the options of where they can go. It's not always going to the pub, or they can go to the community activity. So
Okay.
yeah, and if they are still drinking, which will harm them, so it's not what they want, it's just what we need to do. We need to think our duty of care as well. Alright, so yeah, question and answer. Do you have any questions?
I already have.
Yeah.
Yeah, the funding one. You're talking about the funding one. What's the 500 something daily?
Okay, so the
Expenses.
daily
What is that?
assistance,
Yeah.
it is the 500, like 500 is 50,000, I
Daily,
think. Yeah, 50,000 for a year.
I think that's I see is 500, 500,000.
No,
50,000.
5,000.
5,000
That's
a year.
5,000.
Okay, if it is 5,000 a year,
That's
you need to calculate because we have the NDIS pricing guide. You cannot go over on that pricing.
if you over.
Yeah, if you cannot do that,
Okay.
it's illegal. It's fraud. As of today, the per hour is 65.47. Yeah, per hour.
pasok na ako
So, yeah, and then that 5,000 just divided of how many hours you can give to the person, if how many hours in a week. That's the support
that's-
coordinator's role that can calculate if how many hours that you will be working or you'll be supporting the client.
Okay.
Any question?
What about the medicine requirement for the client? Are they part of the budget?
Yes.
There is what we call medical, which is the clinical, and also NDIS funded medication. But mostly, if it is medication, it is through our Medicare, and it is not funded by the NDIS. So for the training for the assistance with medication, we cannot just really go on and just assist with medication. We need to have also some training for that, for us to know if we are doing it correctly.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. No question? Alrighty, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Don't forget to sign on the attendance sheet and also on our
Okay. Feedback.
feedback form.
All right.
so
Thank
much.
you. Bye.
Thank you.